Um, Now, I think my duty here is to welcome you. Now that we have sought the intervention of course, the Almighty, my duty is to welcome you to Nairobi. Here in Kenya, we say karibu. Karibu. I wish there was something to project that name, but it is karibu. And I think it is the same, almost close to the same word in Arabic. Karibu means welcome. And when you are told karibu, the simple answer that you give, because you'll hear a lot of karibu in this hotel and in other places, the simple answer you give is asante. Asante. Asante means thank you. When someone says karibu, you say asante. Now I will say karibu, and then I'll hear whether you got it. Karibu. I think the people on this table, I'm not very sure, but I will say it once more. Karibu. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for being persistent and being insistent. Because it's only because you have been insistent and persistent that you are able to do the many hours of travel for those that traveled long distances, for those who want to connect, do the connections, and maybe, I don't know how many hours were the array of us for those that were connecting. That is part of being insistent. That is being part of persistent. And I want to thank my brother for the choice of that verse for the devotion today. Because the fight that we have ahead of us and the fight that we have been fighting for us to realize women's rights and gender justice requires persistence, requires insistence. Because that is the only way barriers will be able to break. Without that, barriers will be standing and standing very strong. We want to thank God for the journey mercies and for having seen to it that this particular desire to meet becomes a reality. I see very many faces of people that I met during the online consultations. And we have a very unique opportunity, those of us who are meeting on the online consultations, to now finally be able to meet face to face. Not all of us are here, but then also to get to know that person that you saw, maybe only the face, because that is what the camera could be able to show, to get to know that person much more. Because if out of just seeing the person on the camera, you are able to see so much and to hear so much from that person, you have the unique opportunity now to interact with that person in the next few days that we'll be here together in Nairobi and get to learn more. And that was majorly the purpose of this particular conference. Get to learn more about that person, about what the struggles that they are going through in trying to realize women's rights and gender justice, and get to know how some of those struggles and the struggles that you are also going through and the efforts that you are making and the efforts that they are making, where the synergies are. Because I think there are so many synergies in the interventions that we do. This is your moment, and you are a select few. I'm saying you are a select few because the consultations that we had and will be told had very many people from all the regions that participated, the SADC region, that is the Southern Africa region, the East and Horn of Africa region, the Francophone West and Central Africa region, the Anglophone Africa region, and the MENA region. Many people participated in the consultations, and I believe you know, because you are not from your region. If you look at the numbers that were there from your region, you can see you are a select few. So you are the representatives of the rest who could not make it because of constraints of resources and other constraints. And you'll be able to take back the message of the consultations after the number of days that we're going to have today, this week. So mine is to welcome you. Karibuni sana Nairobi. Karibuni sana Kenya. This is makes us so happy to finally have this particular conference, and a very unique conference indeed, a conference that focuses on women's rights in Christianity. I don't know whether we'll do that exercise at some point, but it would be good to see what is our Universal Declaration on Human Rights, the Bill of Rights as we call it, and maybe go through the Bible and say, what verses speak about the rights that are enshrined in that Bill of Rights? But that might not be my exercise, and I don't know whether it is even part of the program, but it would be good, even if we do it in the evenings, that we could do that, to see whether there is actually such a dichotomy or such a divergence between what the Bill of Rights speaks about and what the Holy Scriptures say. And since I've seen what I've said being taken note of, I trust that it will be infused somewhere within the program. This particular conference is being made able by a leadership that has been very persistent and a leadership that has been very consistent in its ambition on the vision to see the consultations take place. That leadership is a leadership that has been meeting very regularly. It's a leadership that has, we call the steering committee, a steering committee made up of different organizations. I will mention the organizations, and the representatives of those organizations will kindly stand so that we recognize them. In case I pronounce the ones differently, I think you'll know the organizations that I'm talking about. Because again, also now, here accents and tongues differ. So I'll start with Bread for the World. That's one of the members of the steering committee and also one of the facilitators or the sponsors of these consultations that we have been having. Thank you very much for that generosity. Thank you very much for coming. ACT Alliance. ACT Alliance is the representative from ACT Alliance is not present, Erin, but we have an offshoot of ACT Alliance, which we call ACT Ububano. Yeah. Then after ACT Ububano, we have World Council of Churches. The representative. I'm not asking them to say their names because I want to give you a task. Eh? Please get to know them, although when we do introductions, we also get to know who they are, okay? But I want you to recognize those organizations. Then we have Faith to Action Network. We have those that are there are many members that are present because we have been coordinating the process. Even myself that are studying before you, I'm also from the same organization, Faith to Action Network, and we are very happy to be able to host you here in Nairobi. I want to ask the team from Faith to Action Network to stand once more, kindly. I hope I'm not tiring you. So those that are on this side, you can see the team from Faith to Action Network. I think they are. And I think having introduced that team, although it is, I've not introduced them by name, I want to say that Faith to Action Network, we are a global interfaith network, membership-based. We have members in Africa, we have members in Asia, we have members in Europe, we have members in US. And Faith to Action Network has representation from the major faith religions of the world that we know. We have Baha'i, we have Buddhists, we have Christian, we have Hindu, we have Confucius, we have Muslim, we have African traditional churches. Have I left out any other team members? No. And within those different religions, also the different denominations or sometimes schools within those particular religions. We work on forming thematic areas. I'm introducing Faith to Action Network to you so that I can now sit and give another of those that are leading this process forward and to come up. We work on sexual reproductive health and rights and family planning, which are covered under what we call family health and well-being, the thematic area. The second thematic area is women rights and gender justice. And the third thematic area is peaceful, just, and inclusive communities. And there's a cross-cutting thematic area which involves the running and sharing between the members of the network, giving them opportunity to learn from each other, to learn from others as well, but also to share their own experiences. It also involves capacity building, that thematic area. It includes issues to do with research, advocacy, and many other components within that facilitate the work that we do, that enable the work that we do. Otherwise, with that, I want to say you are most welcome. This is the place that you should be in, and it is actually the place you are in. And as I've noted, you are a select few of the many that participated in the consultations. We'll be hearing more about how the consultations went during the period that we are together here. Mine is to say you are most welcome. And with permission of those that will be reading us in the next session, I want to say I'm Peter Munene. I'm the CEO of Faith to Action Network. Welcome.